Good afternoon. On today's episode of My Sixth Sense, we've got a pretty special one for you. The Star Wars saga takes a hit in real life as Darth Vader has passed away. Dick Cheney, the architect of the terror wars and apparently the new voice of the Democrats, is called home. Well, we're not sure what that home is, but he's there now. Israel has changed tactics, now calling all big conservative voices with giant followings anti-Semites. Well, I guess that's not a big change. Telling us that they aren't MAGA for questioning why are we always Israel first. Next, Mamdani. Is America ready for the next communist takeover? New York seems to think so, and with it comes a call to re-elect a true piece of shit candidate, Chris Cuomo, whose COVID policies were created potentially by someone who is as evil as Dick Cheney. Lastly, and a kind of a funny one, the Louvre Heist. In a strange turn of events, the criminals who perpetrated this act are labeled as petty and not professional, even though they were able to break into one of the most secure rooms in the world and steal $102 million worth of jewels. This and more on this episode of My Sixth Sense. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, maybe it is, but yep, it sure is. It is the afternoon just by a quick amount of time. We've got a pretty cool episode today. I've really been thinking about what to talk about, and it's like they always just like end up in my lap, which I think is great. When I'm thinking, should I create an episode? Should I not? What to do, what to talk about? Because there's so many things going on nowadays. Sometimes I'm pretty exhausted about hearing about it. But then this morning I wake up to some interesting news. Dick Cheney, some would call the architect of the terror wars, the war on terror, has died. And just a truly evil person. He's one of those politicians that you're not really sure how he ascended to where he was. You just know that a lot of his policies killed a lot of people and caused just absolute havoc. He died at 84 years of age. I first remember the jokes coming out about Dick Cheney when he actually shot someone in the face while hunting. So it was an accident. Of course, a quail hunting. I don't think much of what this guy does is an accident. I always thought it was pretty premeditated. It was always the long-running joke that he ran the White House while Bush was there. That Bush really wasn't the president. That Dick Cheney was always the decision maker, and a lot of weird decisions came during that time. The reason we didn't want to kill Osama bin Laden and let him escape to the invasion of Iraq just always baffled many people. You wish you could spend more time talking about someone as influential as Dick Cheney in a positive light, but it's just my opinion that you can't. I'm never on one side or the other. Like always red or always blue. At this time when they were in power, I really didn't care about politics at all. But the disaster of the war on terror really made me look back and realize just how evil these people were. And to say that he was the architect is pretty factual. To say that he shot someone in the face while quail hunting is actually factual. He was the driving force for convincing Britain to support the war in Iraq. And he turned the White House and the presidency kind of into a fortress of secrecy, and really leaves behind a legacy that's all about controversy and consequence. And especially after the last election, such a weird such a weird turn of events that the left started posterizing him and making him like a, especially with his daughter, like Liz Cheney. They're all absolute hawks. And for some reason, the left is so deranged to the point of, well, I mean, there's MAGA people like that too, but really the left, especially the last election, Liz Cheney came out against Trump, and the Democrats used him as like, look at this amazing political figure who comes out. How strong and brave is he? It's like, you're going to use that guy in that family to talk about a great legacy. Like none of it fit and none of it made any sense. And they, well, if Dick Cheney says so, then it's like Dick Cheney's a complete failure of a vice president to begin with. He made millions of dollars off of the Iraq war and off the backs of soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, all of it. He didn't care. I mean, you read some of these, if you just search Dick Cheney passes anywhere. Let's see, Dick Cheney, vice president who changed the world and not for the better. Let's see this one. Yeah. This is Dick Cheney remains one of the most complex, controversial, and consequential figures in the modern American history, from shaping the post 9/11 world, which we're not in a better place, period, to accumulating immense personal wealth, and from enduring heart surgery, surviving political storms. Cheney's legacy is multifaceted. At age 84, has complications with pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease, chronic heart problems, surviving 5 heart attacks between 78 and 2010. His long history, according to the time of his death, his net worth was estimated $150 million. The bulk of his wealth came from, here it comes, boys and girls, a bulk of his wealth came from his tenure as CEO of Halliburton, a major energy services firm. Between 1995 and 2000, Cheney earned an estimated $72.5 million, including salary, retirement benefits, and stock options. He also received millions more in deferred compensation after stepping down to run for vice president. In 2008, financial disclosures placed his net worth between 20 and 100 million, far exceeding that of George W. Bush, whose net worth ranged from 7 million to 20 million. As a vice president, Cheney was a key proponent of the war in Iraq, asserting that Saddam Hussein possessed weapons of mass destruction, which we now know he did not, and ties to Al-Qaeda. These claims were central to the Bush administration's cause and case for 2003 invasions. Later investigation debunked these allegations to a strategic blunder that cost trillions of dollars and thousands of lives. Cheney, per usual, remained unapologetic about the war, asserting it was necessary for national security. But we know that's not true. So I just, it's like you don't want to say anything mean about these people, or you don't want to wish them harm. And I don't wish this man harm. He's going to have to meet his maker, and who knows how that's going to go. But this was a very evil man. And if you can't just kind of read his biography and things that happened in the early 2000s when they were in office, and then agree that this guy shouldn't be walked around as some force for good, we're definitely not going to see eye to eye. This guy was a coward who got hundreds of thousands of people killed while getting rich in the process. And like a normal politician can't admit any guilt to anything ever. So again, I feel for his family. Losing your father is very tough. And for that, I feel bad, but the rest of it is, he was truly an awful person, who, in retrospect to the country, in just on the premise of this country, did nothing but harm this country for a long time, and continued to try to do it up until last election, when it was very clear that the left really had no clue how to win, and their next option was to endorse an awful person. I mean, an even worse person than what they had on stage. They endorsed the Cheneys. Completely insane. Our next story. This is always my favorite one. So Tucker Carlson has got a giant following, and I mean, I can't tell you how big his following is. Millions of people watch and listen to him. I do, and I'm unapologetic about that. He's definitely changed his tune, grown a little bit. He's not the crazy guy that's on Fox News. He disagrees with a lot of the mainstream conservatives because they play MAGA, they act MAGA, but they're never Trumpers. And to be completely honest, Trump really isn't America first to begin with. He's definitely led astray. And we can get into that, but he has done some good things, obviously, with the border. But other than that, not so much. And the main tactic of these lobbies, these Israel lobbies, the AIPAC, among other things, are to just blatantly call anybody, and I do mean anyone who disagrees with them, anti-Semitic, which is insane. It's become the new word. Like, you know how like the word racist and Nazi have no, unfortunately, to be honest, unfortunately, have no meaning anymore, and no one cares. Mainly because the left used them so much about everything that people just stopped listening or caring. Because not only were they blatantly very, 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 very rarely true, but 99% of the time it was not true. So people just stopped listening and stopped caring what you said. The word anti-Semite is now becoming fast approaching the word racist and Nazi. And from a lot of people who, to be fair, I respected a while ago, who started bringing up the anti-woke ideology, who spoke out against it, and one being like, Ben Shapiro. Tucker Carlson has made a pretty much a complete 180, and it's just, among other people, Dave Smith included, have had Nick Fuentes on, who Nick Fuentes is a young kid who's got some pretty insane ideas, but they had pretty good conversations with him, both of them retrospectively. And to be honest, Tucker didn't say anything. What Tucker said was that his religion does not allow him to hate any certain people. But over the past couple of weeks, these lobbies have been, Tucker's not MAGA, which, when I think of MAGA, I just think of regular people who want to put America before everyone else. So how about this? We changed the terminology. We don't use MAGA anymore because, whatever. What the real word is, what the real terminology is, America first. I mean, that's pretty simple, right? I mean, I don't even understand why the left can't get on board with that. They believe we need to be sending aid everywhere, but then they want food stamps, or they want social programs, social safety nets. We can't do that if we continue to send money everywhere and pay for foreign wars and entanglements. So America first, somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, or it's all these people that I completely agree with. Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, can't believe I'm saying this now, but Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dave Smith, and Tucker Carlson. These people have continually just asked questions like, hey, why are we always putting Israel's security and safety before our own, financially and physically? It doesn't make any sense. And the second you question that, the second that happens, you are labeled an anti-Semite. And so, like I said, people that have half a brain look at that and go, like, they're not anti-Semites. They're clearly just asking like what this is about, and nobody can answer them. I mean, even with Ted Cruz, when asked about why we support Israel, he said it was in the Bible, and it's not. And he immediately jumped on Tucker and immediately called him an anti-Semite, which Tucker's clearly not. Or like, Thomas Massey wants to release the Epstein files. He wants to introduce the Prime Act for U.S. beef. He wants to bring money home. All of these things that now Trump is trying to primary him. There's nothing Thomas Massey or Rand Paul does that isn't America first. But because he won't toe the line on everything, he is considered. I mean, I'll find some comments from Trump that he's not MAGA. Fine. Fine. I don't think he cares if he's not MAGA, but I'm not really sure how bailing out Argentina is MAGA, right? I'm not really sure I understand how not releasing the Epstein files isn't MAGA. All of those are America first and making people more prosperous. Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about the imminent rise in healthcare premiums. People already can barely afford to live, but we're sending money to Argentina. We are bombing Iran. We are doing all this extra stuff that has nothing to do with the United States. You know, it doesn't make any sense. And Ben Shapiro's right up there with him. Intellectual coward, he calls Tucker Carlson. What do you mean intellectual coward? You debate no one but college kids. Who's the intellectual because he had one guy on his show? I mean, even Tucker said that there was only one thing he regrets not asking is because Nick Fuentes said, oh, he really admires Joseph Stalin. That's a very strange comment. And Tucker didn't say anything to that. I think he said he was so surprised. But to call someone an or an intellectual coward when you yourself are one, people have stopped listening to you. The people that are going to vote in the midterms or are going to vote on these things have stopped listening to you. And it's because when you started, Ben Shapiro, you started on the anti-woke train where words are not weapons. There is no such thing as hate words. Safe spaces are insane, among other things. But those were the big rallying cries for you and your crew. And now, if you say something bad about Israel, or you have someone who vehemently disagrees with you, you call them names: anti-Semite, intellectual coward. All these things are against how you started, and we know why. We know why, Ben Shapiro. It's because you're Israel first, which again, this is not against the Israeli people or Jewish people. It is your government. Much like most governments whose ideas only deal with power. Once they get power, then they want to be able to do anything. And it's usually against the interests of their own people. Look at America. Most of the decisions that are made nowadays have nothing to do with the people. They spend 90% of the time dividing everybody so that we're fighting while they just rape and pillage the country. That's why they have giant net worths, and they, where we just let them do make trades, insider trading, and it's because we spend so much time arguing about the dumbest shit. I was on Facebook the other day, and I was told that it's low IQ to point out that every side does these things. Every side does do these things, so it's super obvious. It's low IQ to think your side is better than the other. If everyone just used their heads for a second, I don't care what color, like with the SNAP benefit thing, I don't care what color your skin is. Don't you think we just need to reform SNAP benefits? Like, does it make me a racist or an idiot or low IQ? Like, dude, why wouldn't we want to do that? I saw a video the other day of a lady who's pretty upset that her SNAP benefits are being she gets $36,000 a year in SNAP benefits to just not work. How is someone like the person I'm referring, the person online whose name I'm not going to mention or call him out, he works a couple jobs. I'm just like, it is okay to have different opinions about things and about someone. But the fact is, if it's always this one subject, it's always so weird. It always comes back to Israel, and nobody can explain it to me. Nobody can explain it to anyone. Tucker Carlson can't explain it. Dave Smith can't explain it. Thomas Massey can't explain it. Marjorie Taylor Greene can't explain it. Rand Paul can't explain. All these people who are pretty obviously truthful about certain things can't explain why this government is so captured by this one country. And then how obvious it is when they're against something. It's like they turned the Charlie Kirk assassination into this whole, Is he for Israel or is he against? Like, who cares? Why don't we find out who killed him first? And then we can worry about if he's Bibi Netanyahu's best friend. Like, why does it have to do with Israel? Everything's Israel. So 99% of you're not anti-Semites. You're just asking questions, and that's the right thing to do. These people work for you. They don't work for anybody else. Ben Shapiro, he works for Israel. Randy Fine, he works for Israel. Your boy Ted Cruz absolutely works for Israel. He does not work. These people do not work for you. You vote them in, though. They should have to answer all your questions, but then they don't, they never really do. Enough about, not enough. We should continue talking about that, but at a later date. Ben Shapiro is an intellectual coward. Until he debates somebody his own age, then, I don't really, I pay him zero attention. I don't know what else to do about that. It's not just him. It's like watching Trump blast Thomas Massie because he won't vote for him. It's like Thomas Massie is the only pro-Trump guy out there. Everyone else is like a never Trumper. And Trump's like, this guy's great. Randy Fine. What an awful human being. Same thing with Ted Cruz. It's just at that point in time, Trump is so 4 feet in front of him. He wants something passed, and Massey's like, wait, that's not America first. And Trump's like, I don't care. You're a piece of garbage for not voting with me. Excuse me. And I'm sure we'll see more of that, but it will be interesting to see what happens in the election. They are trying to primary Thomas Massie. He's doing a very good job of campaigning, and all the reason he is because his record is basically flawless. He actually serves the people of Kentucky. Anyway, I think we probably should get to Mamdani in New York. What a debacle that is. This weird, it's not an invasion. This weird thing where all these politicians now are like foreign born. And it's funny because it's not like he came from some poor neighborhood or he was poor. His dad, I believe, has tenure at Columbia, and his mom works at Disney. His dad has these very strange views. Well, they're not strange. They're just communist, but which are, in my opinion, strange. You can't freeze rent. You can't create grocery stores that are taxpayer funded. There's just too much history. I suggest everyone read Road to Serfdom by F.A. Hayek. This is kind of how it starts. And I think the most interesting part of this is it'll be interesting for me to see if people just start leaving. They said something like 48% of New York. I wonder, let's make sure that is true. 48, 30. Well, let's see. Wow. Yes. Okay. So 48%, we'll just say from 37 to 48% of New York is foreign born. And it'll be interesting to see which way they vote. A lot of places like Cuba, and Chinese, and a lot of Hispanic too, Venezuela and other stuff. It'll be interesting to see which way they vote. We do know that Mamdani's, all of his campaign promises are just going to lead to something really, really bad. We've seen that all over the world multiple times. The ever hilarious, it just hasn't been done right comment always cracks me up. It's not that it hasn't been done right. It doesn't work. And just on a side note, if you want to know why grocery prices are so high, it's because 43 million Americans get groceries for free. You get free stuff, the price of everything else, it goes up. That's the way it is. And if you had any theories about how government works, they just cut off your SNAP benefits. Yeah. All right. Anyway, the most interesting part of this is now they have two other candidates. Cuomo is running as an independent, and the Republican is Siwa, which he is a complete dope. And so is Cuomo. Cuomo's a complete moron. It is so interesting to watch this arc. It's like they almost did this on purpose. Probably did, not really sure. Introduce a crazy candidate to get Cuomo back in. What did people just not remember 4 years ago? Did we just forget about COVID and how he like locked old people into nursing homes to die? I mean, Cuomo's pandemic policies were some of the worst in the country. He was a disgraced mayor, and now he's back for more. And Elon Musk is now promoting him, because the crazy part is, out of these three dopey morons, he's the least dopey. How nuts is that? How crazy is it? Out of all three candidates, the best choice is Cuomo, who is the worst person. I mean, locking old people in nursing homes, COVID policy in general was a complete nightmare. Again, he was basically run out of town, and now he's back. And you know what? If you want to believe Elon Musk, he's the guy you vote for. So it will be interesting, because it looks like Mamdani's going to win in a landslide. Let's see if we can actually figure that like real quick. 1 hour ago, Cuomo chances of winning are at 8%. Mamdani's win seems inevitable. Al Jazeera's got the mayoral election live 10 minutes ago. Let's see. Okay. Of course, Al Jazeera is all about it. Okay, we're going with the Islamophobia. Cuomo gains and Mamdani. Gosh. Yeah. You know what's crazy too is he said all the right things. He said, in the first debate, they asked everyone, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? And everybody said Israel, except for one person, Mamdani. He said, why would I go anywhere? I'm from New York. This is where I'd go. His messaging has been spot on. And everything. See, this is what happens when you go so left and your policies basically destroy America, or not just left. Everything's all fucked up around here. But when the country is crumbling and we continue to do the same thing over and over, people start to not be able to afford things. And then once they start hearing, well, this free bus fare and free grocery stores and rent freezes, people are like, oh my God, you imagine what I can do with an extra $1,000 a month? But what they don't know or understand is like where that leads. People are unfamiliar. What they are familiar with is the same old, right? So what you've done with all your policies since Darth Vader, aka Dick Cheney, Lord Voldemort, you have started a nice slow and then sharp decline where now people are literally thinking the only way out of here is a socialist mayor or a socialist government of some sort that can give you things. Do you see what happened? Because that's the thing. These politicians on both sides, they don't care about you. It's one, their legacy, two, their wealth, and three, what they can get done in the short amount of time that they have. And it has nothing to do. I mean, think about the campaign promises here that Trump made. He's only done one of them. Well, I'm supposed to praise him for that. And one more thing. If you are one of those people like me, or feel like me, where it's like everything seems so jacked up, and when you're looking at people's posts online, right or left, and you're like, dude, that's wrong. Like we're not in a better spot. I mean, we are the border, but we're just not in a better spot. And someone tags you about it, like, oh, they both do it. Those people are ignorant and intellectually cowardice. All of them. I got one person in mind who looks a lot like a dumbed down version of Bob the Builder. But anyway, we won't get into that moron. Lastly, I kind of just want to end on a funny note. The Louvre, may and shall we revisit the heist of all heists, the Ocean's 11 reboot. I had recorded an episode a week or two ago, or whenever it happened, about it. Unbelievable. Questions like, was George Clooney involved? Which is a question we still haven't had answered. Amazing. These thieves broke into the Louvre and stole $102 million worth of jewels. They've got 3 suspects in custody, still looking for another one. And this happened long enough ago that it seems that these people kind of knew what they were doing. Well, I mean, you have to break into the Louvre using a construction lift and cutting tools and getting away with what they got away with. So you can imagine, I have been following this because I think it is unreal. Stuff like this Looney Tune Acme kind of stuff doesn't happen ever. And when it does, it's I don't know, for me, it's captivating. So when it first happened, obviously people were like, this is a professional hit. This is a professional heist. I mean, can you only imagine what these people must have planned or done? Now that they have caught these people, the prosecutor on the case in Paris, her name is, I'm going to butcher this. I apologize. Laurie Bacall, Beccuau. She has called the heist was executed by a group of petty criminals, not professionals. I'm sorry. So what does that make your department? What? So you're telling me that these people waited to the very right time, rented equipment that was put on the street in and out in like 3 minutes or whatever they were, 6 minutes, with $102 million worth of jewelry. And it was just like Mark from the block, the one you see at the liquor store. No, dude, that's so funny to say. Instead of being like, hey, we need to really beef up security. It was amazing that these people got in and out. It's like, these people are petty criminals. Dude, if that's a petty crime, if petty criminals can, I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often. I mean, how secure was the Louvre that petty criminals could steal $102 million worth of priceless jewels? You tell me. I really can't make this stuff up. It's quite insane. And then to say that, the heist was carried out by a 4-person team who ransacked the gallery and fled on motorbikes shortly after the museum opened on October 9th. Petty criminals, not pros. It's so... Let me see if I can find another description. Involvement. 3 men, 1 woman were living in or around the suburb in North France. 15 previous convictions. One of them in a long-term relationship. Clearly local people. Okay. The thieves raided the Apollo Gallery on the Louvre's upper floor, which houses the French crown jewels, on October 19th. They used a truck-mounted ladder to gain access to the gallery, one of the most ornate rooms in the museum, through a window. They broke into 2 high-security display cases and made off with 9 items, including a diamond and sapphire jewelry set worn by Queen Marie Amélie and Queen Hortense. Yes, those petty criminals. Dude, what is the world coming to? A bunch of anti-Semites running around. We got a communist mayor that's about to be reelected. There's no such, okay. What's the next? You can call it socialism. But what's the very close step? It's communism. And now a bunch of moronic people broke into a high security room using a truck mounted ladder, and stole these jewels. I leave you with that. We are going to make I keep saying that as if I've got some crazy team that is, I have no producer. I have no editor. It's just me. But I always say we, at the My 6 Cents compound, AKA my desk at my house. Once the mayor race is called, I'll probably do another episode so that we can kind of talk about this. If Ben Shapiro says anything stupid, which will it happens hourly, I'd assume. You know what? Let's check in real quick on his Twitter feed just to see if he said anything dumb in the last 10 minutes while I've been ranting about this. Let's see. I definitely don't follow him. Ben Shapiro. Okay, pinned. This is November 3rd. No to groypers. No to cowards like Tucker Carlson who normalize their trash. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. Oh, stop talking. Anyway, 4 minutes. October 31st. Oh, it's election day in New York City. Will New Yorkers commit political suicide? Plus, the election in New Jersey could decide the future of the Democratic Party. And Nick Fuentes touts his victory over J.D. Vance. See, the thing is, he doesn't want anyone to talk to Nick Fuentes because he tried to cancel him when he was like a teenager. But now that's all he talks about. Because that's the aim of the Jewish donors. Anyway, have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend. If I don't talk to you or you don't hear from me before then, which you should, because I'm sure we'll find out about New York tonight. Anyway, thanks for stopping by.